Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 4th grade concept of adjacent angles. This is standard 4.7e in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 8 of the 2022 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we've got angle SRT, all right? So when we read these, always be looking at that middle letter is going to be your vertex, right? So angle SRT, so I'm going to go here to my vertex of R, and then back up to T right there. Okay, so that's the first one. Has a measure of 35 degrees. Angle TRV has a measure of 65 degrees. All right, so I'm going to start on my T, come back into that same vertex R. Now I'm going to go back out to V, and that's 65 degrees. All right, so what is the measure of angle SRV? All right, SRV. All right, so let's see what we've got here. So I'm just going to, since I've already highlighted everything, I'm just going to run parallel. S kind of into R, back out to V. All right, so I'm looking for the whole thing. What I've got are two little parts, SRT and TRV, but I need SRV. So what do we know about adjacent angles? Well, if we have two angles that are next to each other, that are not overlapping, we can use what we call an additive property, right? So think about like when you are looking at area. So let's say this got an area of 3 units, this got an area of 3 units, so how big is the whole thing? Well, you could easily say, okay, well 3 and 3 makes 6. Well, that's because you've got two shapes that are next to each other. They're not overlapping, and you could just add them together. Same thing works with angles, okay? So if you've got two adjacent angles and they're not overlapping, you could just add them together and you get the measure of the larger angle. Now, let's take a look at this big SRV, because I'm thinking if I'm trying to kind of estimate where a 90-degree angle would be, I'm thinking it's a little bit big. I'm thinking a right angle is something right around there. I'm trying to make that square corner. And you see how this one's a little bit bigger, which means I think this is an obtuse angle. Now, obtuse angles are those that are greater than 90 degrees or greater than a right angle. Remember, acute are those that are less than 90 degrees. And it just doesn't look like it's going to be that much less than 90 degrees. It's a little bit bigger. So let's take our 2. Let's see what we have. I think it's going to be an obtuse angle greater than 90. Only way to tell is to add the 2 up. 35, 65. Let me see. So I've got 10. See, 60 and 30 is 90, but I need to carry that 10. So there we go. That's going to be 100. All right, so 100 is definitely greater than my 90. Not a whole lot, just a little bit greater than 90. So, all right, so I'm not sure where some of these came from here. I know where the 30 comes from, right? So if I didn't use addition, if I were to subtract, let me see, as if I can write that correctly, 65 and 35. Yeah, see, that's where that comes from. That's wrong. I'm not sure where that 90 comes from, unless you're just eyeballing it and thinking it's a right angle, but it's not. So maybe the 90 and 110 is just, you're just adding incorrectly, like 65, 35, so this would be 10 and 90. I'm not sure where you get those. For most of us, addition is pretty standard. So we've got that. So our answer here is going to be J.